So it's time for the cooling portion of the project. So I'm going with a fairly tried and true combination. I've got a 4.3 liter radiator and a Intrepid fan. This is actually out of a Dodge 300, whatever it's called. It's basically an Intrepid, but the difference is this had the built-in relays, so I got this one. It's also got what looked like bigger fans, but the overall footprint is identical to the Intrepid. I compared them at the junkyard. So the step is to recess the radiator into the core support, which has been done a million times. The difference with mine is I'm keeping my air conditioning, so that means I've got to move that forward. So that is sort of difficult, but not difficult. Alright, so I spent some quality time with my plasma cutter over there and got this pretty much cleaned up and notched out. So up here on the top, this is top passenger side, I cut this chunk out to clear for the fill cap. We'll clean that up after I do a test fit. The bottom edge, I removed the whole thing. So I just chopped this out. We'll call it flush with this edge right here. So I just brought that straight down. The reason for that is the radiator is 17 inches tall. So if I go from the inner support, it sticks down past, and it's a lot easier for me to add a lip to the bottom than it would be to the top because that's your hood. So the driver's side, I removed around 2 inches or so. It's about 1 3/4 inches. This was a factory cutout that was rectangular, and I basically went right along the edge of it. That should give me about a 1/2 inch clearance on each side for the radiator. The top edge, there's a little tab right here that had like a riv nut in the center, and that's what held the AC condenser on. And those two spots line up with the radiator's support bracket spots. Alright, let's go ahead and check our fitment. So up here is where I'm going to put the rubber isolators, and all I got to do is on the inner support piece, just drill a hole, stick it in on the other side, and then the bottom edge, I'll make a lip that extends down far enough and use the factory isolators on there. So overall, it's a pretty good fit. As far as my height, about to check that. We'll throw this in the truck and see how everything fits. Alright, get ready for some success or failure because I haven't test fit this yet. So we're about to find out together if this will work. Definitely doesn't go in as one piece. Now for the fan. Look at that. Fits just fine. So I got about, I'd call it 1 1/4 inches to that wire, which is plenty because I could always cut that. So what I've got are these radiator support isolator thingies. These are just factory GM. They come right out of the Blazers at the junkyard, so they fit these radiators. All it is, it's got this little nipple on top with kind of like a recess. all you gotta do is drill a 1/4 inch hole, shove this through, and you're all set. So, alright, so I've got my edges marked, which makes this my center line. 1/4 inch drill bit. There we go. Top is all set and isolated. So now I just need to build my bottom lip. Radiator is all positioned where I want it. So what I'm doing is, since the top is the stationary, I need to have the bottom be removable so I can pull the radiator in and out, obviously. So I found this. These are the stock isolators from the 2.2. It looks like they're the same for the 4.3. And then what I found was some DOM tubing I had. And this is just 1 3/4 by 1/8 wall. And it fits on the isolator basically perfectly. It sits right in it. So this will be my bottom holding cup. So that's going to be on there. That's going to be on there. And then this needs to be removable this direction. So I just bent up some little tabs. I'm going to weld them like this, and then I can weld a plate, and then I can drill and tap this, and this will be removable like that. So get these cleaned up, weld these tabs on. I'm recessing my cutout for the water neck, and this is one thing on a lot of builds I've seen that it looks all junky because they just kind of cut a hole, and then you got to reach down in there and get the cap, and I don't know, that's some amateur shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm working this in. What I did was cut out a triangle here, slid it along there, bent this down. I'm going to fill it in, weld it. What I'm going to show you is this edge right here, I want it to bend down. So it's kind of looks the same on both sides, leads down to the water neck. Smooth edges where you're not cutting yourself. But I want a nice clean bend because that's right where everyone's going to see when you pop the hood. So all I'm going to use is a couple pieces of 1/4 inch steel, just some scrap, and some vice grips. Here's what I ended up with as far as my mounting solution. So it turns out that these supports are directly in line with the frame rails. And the problem with lowering the radiator as opposed to raising it is you don't have much space. I got about a 1/2 inch clearance between the bottom of this and the frame rails. So you can modify your frame rails, of course. So what I did was I took the stock radiator isolator, I cut the smaller part off, made these little brackets to hold it in there. So that goes in here, and then because I have no clearance, my bolts have to go in from the top, which isn't very easy. So, what do you want, cat? So what happens is, if I need to remove my radiator, I've got to pull the whole core support, which kind of sucks, but how often do you really change a radiator? Pulling the core support in this is maybe a 30-minute job or so. So the top did turn out pretty nice, which is kind of what I wanted. So, you gonna help me with these bolts? You wanna hold the wrench for me? So I'll get these bolted on and drop it in the car. Alright, so there we are, all set in place as I kick the camera. So my little recessed area worked, I think, pretty good. Easy access to the cap where I'm not cutting myself on any sharp edges. Radiator is inside the core support. So that's how she sits in there. Got plenty of clearance where I'm not rubbing or hard mounting anything, so everything's isolated. So now we get to make some mounts for the fans if you'll get off of them. You gonna move from the fans? Come on. So I'll make some brackets that screw into the core support, then extend out kind of over the radiator to go to the stock holes here. Dude. So the fans will sit in here sort of like this. Of course I can't hold the camera and hold them up at the same time, but got plenty of clearance.